This is a continuation of working with the big black gelding, part 2 of flexing. This is a couple days after the first day. The first day I had just worked with going on to the left side, and today we do more. You can see here how I just kind of was testing him out on the left side, and he is very happy to give his head. He's actually dropping his nose a little bit. And every time he gives a little bit, I'm going to release. And so that time I actually asked for more. And there I asked for even more. And he is, I mean, for not being handled, like I said, I want to say this was like 2 or 3 days later. And yes, he moved his feet a little bit, but who cares? He will figure it out. This is only the second day working with him with this particular exercise, and I was really happy with that. That is fantastic job that he did. Really happy with what he did in flexing and giving and dropping his head. He's not near as tense with me overall. And there I'm just kind of letting him relax a little bit, seeing if he'll take a breath, take a sigh, lick his lips, do something. There he dropped his head, which for him is huge. He kind of puts his nose out like he wants to check me out a little bit. That is such a big deal for this horse because the first couple times I've worked him, he was head up in the air, running around like a lunatic. So to actually drop his head and check me out was a huge deal. And you can see he's not quite sure what to do with his back feet, so he's kind of stretched out a little bit there. And I'll just let him figure himself out there for a second. And I will let him smell me if he desires. Now, if he gets nippy, that's a little different. But if he's just curious, if he's just wanting to be, kind of friendly, that's fine. I'm going to let him do that just so that he realizes that I'm not a bad guy. And I do apologize. I didn't realize that my camera was not zoomed in or zoomed out. I'm sorry. And so I've got the stroller in the video and not the best viewing for what this is, but we made it work. And so here I am asking for the right side the very first time, and he surprisingly gave me a lot, which is huge. I was really happy with that. I released as soon as he gave that. Not only did he flex his head, he dropped his head a little bit. He got distracted. He looked off in the distance to see some other horses. That's fine. That happens. It's not the end of the world. They're gonna do that. I'm gonna wait a little bit and then I'll ask again. There, he just did it by himself. I did not ask. That's okay too. And anytime he actually wants to drop his head, I'm going to encourage it because he is so uptight. Some of these horses, if they're super tight, they're not going to relax. They will not drop their head. So if he wants to drop his head, I'm going to let him. There, I did ask him to flex a little bit. He did flex. We got the cat walking across the round pen. He did pretty good. I'm going to release. I'm going to let him just kind of hang out because he did a fantastic job there. And again, he wants to kind of check me out. He came up to me more willingly, and he wasn't standing stretched out with his back legs, meaning he felt stuck. Now, if he was a horse that always stood stretched out, I'd be a little concerned that maybe he had some joint issues, hock issues, stifle issues. He doesn't normally stand like that, so I do believe that he was probably feeling stuck, not really sure what to do with his body and where to put it. But you can still see the majority of his body here. He walked up on his own. I did not make him do that. And I'm just going to scratch him a little bit. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to check him out to see what he does when I twirl that lead rope. And you see his head goes right back up. It's not his favorite thing. I'm not twirling it at him. I'm twirling it off to the side in front of him. I want him to follow it, and I want him to realize that I'm not going to hurt him. And I will do that on both sides of the horse. And he kind of gets stuck. He kind of gets his feet stuck. And so that's a good way to kind of let him realize that he doesn't have to be scared and he can move his feet. If he gets stuck, I'm going to go side to side versus in front, meaning I'm going to ask him to move at a 90-degree angle to his body versus ask him to lead forward. The horse can pull against you going forward. They cannot pull against you as easily if you ask at a 90-degree angle. So he's not doing too bad. We've actually worked on this in the past, and he's gotten better. It's not his favorite exercise, and the first time he actually got really stuck and he really freaked out. So this is actually really good for him to just go back and work on, realize he can move his feet, realize that he's not going to get stuck, realize that he's not going to get hurt. Because I do want to eventually be able to get a saddle and throw it up on him. I don't want to have to baby a saddle onto him. And as big as he is, considering just starting him by possibly making him a roping prospect. He is a big gelding. And he is ranch bred, so he may have some interest in cows, I'm not sure. But before we do all of that for an actual rope, we have to get him used to just some of the basics first. And you can see he actually takes swinging the rope up over him. You can see how he kind of got his legs stuck again. That's fine. And then he moves forward. That's okay too. It's all about baby steps. And again, I'm sorry about the quality of the video where I cut his head off quite a bit in this video. I did not intend that. But it's really hard to re-video it because the results and what happens and occurs during the video is not guaranteed. So we're going to try to make the best of the video that there is. As I was swinging the rope on the side, and then I put it up over his back. You can see he took it all right. Be sitting there petting him a little bit, scratching on him. Do it again here in a second. Swing it off to the side. And swing it up over his back. You can see his legs are still kind of stuck. He's camped out a little bit. But he will eventually step up. Might just be after. There we go.